All right, so some technical difficulties, not sure what happened there, but welcome back to another episode of the Move Me to Texas podcast. Flying solo today, was going, and then when I went to share my screen, it froze, so got kicked off, but I am back. So we're here with another episode of the podcast and just digging into the Houston real estate market. So if you have any comments or questions about what's going on in the Houston real estate market, please feel free to drop them in the comments. Always excited to answer those and dig into, things that matter most to y'all. And we'll go ahead and dig in. So I wanted to share an article from the Zillow group. So let me get this pulled up here. If you are already tuning in, my apologies. We will go ahead and just go over what we've gone over. So yeah, here we go. So this is an article from Zillow, basically about skyrocketing home value. So did your home make more money than you? So one thing that we saw in 2021 was that home value growth exceeded the median salaries in 25 of 38 major markets across the US. So appreciation on the typical home ranged from the equivalent of an oral surgeon's income in San Jose to a food preparation worker in Philly. So basically, you can read this entire article on Zillow about home value appreciation. But basically what they did is they took the US price appreciation or area price appreciation. They looked at pre-tax income and, different things, and then people that made a salary close to that median income. So across the United States, home value appreciation was about $52,000, almost $53,000. And that equates to the U.S. profession of a director or religious activity education director. So that was interesting. When you're looking at other markets, these are basically all of the markets that they took a look at. What we would want to see is home value price appreciation, and if it's higher than the median pre-tax income. So New York, Jersey City, 63K appreciation versus 60K, and that would be like a judicial law clerk. Long Beach, home price appreciation was up $131,000. LA area, Anaheim, Long Beach, pre-tax income, 50K. So that's a delta of about almost $82,000. And that's like a judge salary. Some other ones that were high, looks like Dallas Fort Worth, 70K home price appreciation, which is a delta of about 20K to that $50,000 median pre-tax income for an HR specialist. Some other ones that saw some pretty significant, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, price appreciation about 72K, median income's 40K, so $32,000 delta for a PR specialist. Atlanta had a pretty big differential. The Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland, and Hayward, California, $104,000 price appreciation and 75K median income. So that's a delta of $129,000, which would be the salary of a general internal medicine physician. Another big one, Riverside, San Bernardino, Ontario, California, $111,000 price appreciation. Seattle area, $131,000 price appreciation. San Diego, I'm really just naming off the West Coast. Denver is another one. Denver's been seeing high price appreciation, though, for a pretty long time. And San Jose, really, I'm just naming off California. So interesting article by Zillow, basically outlining the different areas and, places that saw very, very significant price appreciation and how some of those outpaced home values. So the other thing that I want to talk about was we've got the Houston Business Journal break the news that there is a 1,160 acre master plan community breaking ground in Waller County. So this is Rooted Development is the company. They are breaking ground on a large master plan community in Waller County, which is south of Hempstead. and they're going to have a bunch of homes, 107 homes on 1 and 2 acre lots, so bigger lot sizes, and they're going to be priced between 400 and a million, with David Weekley Jamestown Estate Homes, KHOV, and Sitterly Homes on 250 of those acres. And it looks like they should start to have homes beginning of next year, sales in July or August. So it'll be interesting to see that pan out. They're going to have 3 man-made lakes. One is going to be 45 acres with a fishing pier, park, pavilion, community. And they'll have future phases depending on the market. They can expand the development 4,000 acres, which is a lot bigger than the 1,100 acres that they've got now. So this will be interesting to see as far as master plan communities. So other master plan communities that are being built, we had talked about. Oh, this is actually not the one we talked about. So Signorelli is doing a community in Brookshire, north of Brookshire in Waller County. They are also doing one in Rosenberg, Richmond area down south. So a lot of development up in that kind of west and northwest area. Houston is not on the Zillow list. The only Texas market on the Zillow list that they had was the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and it looks like they also had San Antonio. Let's see. Actually, no. So Houston was on the list. Let me flip back to this. So Matt, great question. Houston was on the list. So we had about 45K of price appreciation on a year-over-year basis, but 50K median salary. So the 45K price appreciation would be similar to a dental lab tech salary, but the delta wasn't, as much as the median salary. Other question that Matt had is, are we seeing buyer sentiment change with the run up in rates? So the one thing that I think we've seen, for a lot of people is if they're going to buy a home, or need to buy a home, they're still going to buy it. But what we've seen from a lot of people so far, over the past couple months is perhaps they've been surprised by interest rates, because people heard over the past 2+ years that, people have 3% interest rates, things like that. So when they're getting quoted 4.5% or 5%, they're like, this has to be wrong. Can I get a second opinion? So a lot of times we'll provide them someone to get a second opinion with. So, we haven't had any buyers say they're not going to buy because of the rates yet. But I'm sure at some point, that will start to pop up a little bit more as far as, people deciding to not buy. Flipping back to the master plan community stuff, we've got some things being built and master plan communities in the Fulshire area. And I think it's Johnson Development is doing something out in Fulshire. We've got obviously the stuff that I just said happening in Waller County, but all of these things are happening outside outside 99. So pretty far out from, Houston proper, but we're seeing a lot of, building occurring there. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about real quick was the former Houston Post building, the printing press building in East Downtown. So this was the potential to be a grocery store. So if you've lived in the East Downtown area in Houston or been around it, it's something that has been talked about for a while as far as potentially being a grocery store. It is not. CVS is open as the main tenant in this area and or in this building, and this was something that opened recently. So the CVS is open, and this is off of basically Emancipation and Polk Street in East Downtown. So the long-awaited rehab of this building. If you live in Edo or drive down Emancipation going down towards not BBVA, but towards the Dynamo Stadium, this is the exterior of the building. It used to be a lot more rundown, so they've definitely cleaned it up. CVS is open. So if you need, all your shampoo and stuff like that, you can pick that up. And that is the exterior of the building. So it's a 76,000 square foot building. Again, it's at 2410 Polk Street on Polk and Emancipation. It was the printing press building that's now going to be mixed use development, retail on the first floor, office space on the second and third floors. It's going to be 20,000 square feet of retail and restaurant, again, on the first floor. Second and third will have 56,000 square feet of office space. So they're currently leasing that out. Pretty interesting. Looks like Lovett, which is the company that redeveloped the building, which also owns In Town Homes, who's built a ton in East Downtown, are moving their office space over there. Looks like they are also planning a rooftop terrace overlooking the skyline. What's great about that is, based on where it is, they probably will have pretty unobstructed views into the future. And then there will also be a multifamily apartment community down the street, basically on Bell and Emancipation, so closer to the highway. So cool. Yeah, that is. The Print House is one of many adaptive reuse projects that's happening throughout the city. The main one that people have seen lately is Post, which is just outside of downtown. And this is actually my favorite thing about the Post building. Maybe not my favorite thing, but one of my favorite things is the in front of it and up on the rooftop area, you get awesome views of downtown, which I think are really cool. And then once you're inside, there are a ton of different food kiosks. It's a huge food hall. They've got ice cream, which is tasty. They've got tons of different restaurants, and this really cool staircase situation. What else do they have? Another staircase. This staircase that's a spiral, so clearly their thing is stairs. And then I don't know if they have any pictures. Yeah, so this is the rooftop. So it's a 5-acre park on the rooftop of the building. And are they going to show? Okay, they're going to show you some plants. I can't believe they don't show the rooftop from downtown. But the rooftop from rooftop views of downtown, you can kind of see it in this picture, are pretty awesome. So yeah, Post opened back in November, and that's the former post office. It will have office space, and it looks like 24,000 square feet of co-working, operated by Common Desk. And I actually just read that Common Desk was acquired by WeWork, I believe. So interesting news as far as co-work space. Okay, so that is what I've got about that. The final thing I wanted to talk about was kind of just what's happening in the Houston real estate market. So one of the biggest things, Matt commented earlier, was, the interest rates that have been increasing here in across the country. And, it's definitely something that we've seen here in Houston as far as buyers, that we work with. That's definitely something to kind of keep in mind if you're thinking about purchasing a home. My best advice to you would be to speak with the lender early so you can understand kind of what's happening with the market, and where we are at. As far as tax protests, so we are definitely in the season of protesting your taxes in Harris County or in whatever county you may be in. You can choose to do it yourself, or you can have a company do it for you. So you can sign up to do that yourself online. So the deadline for protesting your taxes is basically by May 15th. There is like an early deadline where you can protest your taxes earlier. I think that deadline is April 30th. But the deadline is the full deadline is May 15th. I do think that it is still worth it to try to protest your taxes. Let me share my screen here real quick. So if you live in Harris County, which is the kind of obviously like main county here in Houston, if you are protesting for homestead property, so the property that you live in, the early protest deadline is April 30th or 30 days after the date that the appraisal district sends you the notice of appraised value, whichever is later. If you miss that early deadline, then the regular protest deadline is May 15th. In any other real property, so if you own an investment property or land, the protest deadline is also May 15th. So there are a few ways in which to protest your taxes. Again, you can hire a company. You generally only pay that company if they win and get a lower tax value for you. Otherwise, you can file online through the iFile process. It, as they say, is quick and convenient to do so. You can also do a written protest where you send it to them at HCAD, which is located off of Northwest Freeway, and you complete the protest form. Once you file a protest, though, you do need to provide them with information. So you can request, so you would need to provide information as to why the property is overpriced, right? So you can check if the measurements are wrong. So sometimes HCAD says that your property is 5,000 square feet and it's only 2,500 square feet or something like that. That would be one. You can provide them photographs or statements from contractors to show that your property may have issues or need major repairs. You can obtain a property value appraisal from an independent appraiser, but chances are, if you're getting a third-party appraisal, that would be on market values of what's happening in the Houston market. So chances are that would be a higher price. And then you can also provide them comparable sales, in the area. So if that's something that you need, please feel free to shoot me, a message. And then if you actually end up, so you send all of this in, and they review it, and then they tell you, that your value either still stands or they agree with it or whatever. But if it goes to the point where you're actually going into a hearing with HCAD, you would need to bring a bunch of information and evidence, showing that your values are lower. I previously had protested my taxes when I lived in a different home, and when I did that, when I went into HCAD, it probably took me 30 to 45 minutes of an actual visit there. So not a huge amount of time, but can be worth it if they increase your value pretty significantly. So again, the deadline to protest your taxes, end all be all deadline, is May 15th. So if you have any questions on that, please feel free to shoot me a DM or message. But yeah, that is what I've got for today. Hope you all are having a great day, and I will talk to you soon.